Okay. Welcome, Max. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great, thanks. How's yourself?
Good, thank you. Hey, if you don't mind, where are we talking to you from?
Oh, I'm up in Townsville in North Queensland.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to do the interview today.
No worries.
So, first off, how long have you been trading for in total?
Oh, in total, I started looking at trading probably about 8 or 9 years ago, and I played around a bit. I looked at my first trades were actually on the stock market
hmm
on the ASX. I actually bought shares in the company that I worked for at the time, and I bought some shares in a small gold mining company.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it was good management or good luck, but I got out of the gold mining company about 4 or 5 months later, and the shares had gone up by about 10, 12 cents a piece. So I was quite happy with that.
Fantastic.
But I didn't like the fact that on the stock market you had to wait for 16 hours a day where you couldn't do anything. So if anything happened, you just had to suck it up and suffer.
Yep. So, what products are you trading now?
At the moment, I'm trading foreign exchange, so I don't have any favourite currencies. I just try and look at whatever's got some volatility, whatever moves.
Okay. So, what was your experience from you? You did well with the stocks to start with, and that was at the start of the. It was like 9 years ago, by the sounds of things. What's been your experience since then?
Oh, I've had some good trades and a lot of bad trades. At times, I feel like rather than being a trader, I'm just a donator.
Yep.
I've looked at all sorts of things on the internet, and as you know, and probably most people that have been looking at trading for any period of time, there is so much rubbish out there, but you get sucked into everything. You get sold the lie, all these pictures of sitting back on the beach with a laptop or big boats and big flash cars, and I've actually probably, in the intervening years, I've blown up about 3 accounts. Had some stern discussions with my wife. But it's I think the hardest thing about trying to learn from scratch is figuring out who's got the right stuff, like who to learn from, because most of these people I've found are just scam artists.
What made you come to TradeView?
Well, about I guess it was probably not long after TradeView started. I actually paid for a course, but I never actually did it because I was going through that looking for everything on the internet, and I had actually forgotten about it. But every now and again I got a phone call, and then probably about 3 months ago now, 2.5, 3 months ago, it was Francisco phoned me up, and he's actually quite lucky because I had become fairly jaded about these phone calls, and more often than not, as soon as they started talking about being from somewhere and to do with trading, I used to just go, well, I'm sorry guys, I've got my broker and I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and hang up on them without giving them a chance. But for some reason on this day I spoke to Francisco, and every time I got a call from TradeView, they told me that I had paid for this course and go on the site, and I thought, oh well, I'll do it. And he's an interesting young fellow to talk to. He's polite. We have some pretty good conversations. But what I liked was that it was no high pressure sales. It was just come and have a look and contact us anytime. I love the way your support desk goes. I mean, Todd and those guys, every time I've sent a request in, I think within about 2 hours I've had a reply, and they send me screenshots of how to fix what I want fixed. And so I think it's just a general I think you just come across as easygoing guys, willing to help anybody as long as you're prepared to put in some of the graft yourself.
I think that's pretty much it, Max. I mean, we always do want to help everybody, and I think people can, they help themselves by putting the work in. So if people are prepared to put the work in, then, as you know, we give people unlimited support. So Todd and Ali, the support guys, are awesome. So as you know, there are a couple of guys that trade here and also do the support. Mate, if you've got 2 hours turnaround, then maybe they're putting you to the front of the queue. I don't know. Look, they do try and get to people as quick as possible, but usually we say a day to 2 days. But no, look, that's good. They do try and do it as quickly as they can. What sort of things have you asked the support guys? What have they helped you with?
Oh, well, when I've been using the EA Lab, I might have a little function or something that's not quite working the way I want it. So I just ask them, because I find the EA Lab easy to use, but sometimes it's just, I think it's putting the stuff in the right context, or because they have a look at what I've done and then they just send me back, and it might just be a rearrange the blocks, like for doing a trailing stop, or I was trying to put a system together one time looking for a divergence, and I wasn't quite sure how to program the look back over a period of bars for my divergence. So, and to start off with, when you haven't used it, it appears complicated. But once you get the screenshot and that back from them, and they show you what they've done, it's like, and the good thing with the screenshots is I've got them all saved in a file. So if ever I'm doing anything similar in the future, I can go back and look in that file instead of just whacking off support requests all the time.
Mate, you're a legend. That's absolutely much appreciated. We do like when people, when they have a go themselves. I think that's the best way for you to learn, and obviously saving the screenshots is a fantastic idea, so you can come back and reference them later. Do you want to explain actually to the guys the process of getting support from EA Lab? Do you know? Do you want to explain how it works? So let's say you're building something and you get stuck with a model. How do you get in touch with support?
All I do is, in the EA Lab, there's a little tab that you can press it in the top corner, and it comes up with like a form that you just write in what you're trying to do and what you're asking for, and you just press that, and it just sends off the email to them straight away, and it highlights the system that you're working on, so you know which one it is. And sometimes what I'll do too, if it's particularly complicated, I'll take a screenshot of my EA Lab setup and send that off in an email so that they can actually have something, I can put notes and stuff on it telling them pointing to the ones that I'm actually trying to work on.
Excellent. Did you know that when you use a support request through EA Lab, it actually will give the support guys access to your EA, so they don't need to rebuild it. They can literally download it and test it, and they can help you figure out what's going wrong as well.
Yeah, do it from within there. Yeah, which I think is a fantastic thing, because like I can go on and work on something else and they can work on that, and then they send me an email saying they've done it, and you have a look and it's like, oh wow, okay, which I think is pretty cool.
Have you got any suggestions for anybody who wants to learn to trade or wants to learn to automate, given your experience?
Oh, look, automation is just, it's the way to go. You can't sit at the computer screen 24 hours, 5 days a week, waiting for that moment when a trade pops up. So I would suggest if you want to trade, you've got to look at automation. And this is the easiest way of creating your own automated systems that I've come across. And I love the fact that by creating it yourself, or creating something myself, I understand how it works. So if it stops working, you have a better understanding of how to fix it. Whereas things I've tried in the past, there's so many like buy this system and buy that system, and that's what they give you. They give you a system and you can't access the code, which is fair enough, I suppose, because somebody's spent a lot of time and effort writing that code. But the trouble is, if you can't access it and understand how it works, you don't know whether it's broken, and if it does break, you don't know how to fix it, because the market is in a constant state of flux. So what works today might not necessarily work tomorrow. But if you put it together, you'll understand that it's not working the way you want it to work. So then you can look at doing some sort of repair or fix on it.
Exactly. I've been trying to tell people that for the last 4 years, Max. So you pretty much hit the nail on the head. That's great. Just to come back to the support, how often would you speak to one of the traders here?
Oh, I'm a bit of a hog. I speak to one probably almost every day.
Who do you speak to the most?
I speak to Francisco the most.
Oh, yeah.
We just catch up maybe if it's only for 5 minutes, but yeah, just it's great because you feel like you're part of something, I suppose. And I found like living up here, I'm all on my own. I speak to friends and they're like, oh yeah, so you gamble? No. But isn't it? It's so risky. Well, do you want to put your money in the bank and be happy with 3% while they're making I don't know how much off it? Nobody looks after your money as well as you do, and you won't put your own money at risk. I mean, everything in life has risk, but I think I would much rather try and produce an income myself doing this than pay somebody a commission, because they don't care whether they make you money or not, as long as they get their income, their fee for doing it. Yeah.
With building your models, do you think that you're able to understand how they work and that you have a good idea of when you should be running them? And do you think we've given you, without telling people exactly what the process is, do you think we've given you a good process for building the models, understanding how they work, and then getting them to a live account?
Oh yeah, definitely. To start off with, by building the model yourself, I mean, if you don't understand how your own model works, well, what have you built? Mm-hmm. You've got to understand. To build something, you've got to understand it. You don't go and build a house without knowing how to build a house. Or if you don't know how to build a house when you start off, by the time you're finished, you do. So you understand what you've done, and you know if your house looks broken. Same with building one of these. You have an idea. It can be any idea, just a random. It might be candle patterns. It might be some indicator or a combination of one or two indicators. Could be time of day. But you had the idea to start off with, so you understand what you're wanting to build. You go through the process with support to build it. And then once you've got it built, well then of course you don't just stick it on live money straight away. You have back tests. You can put it on a demonstration account and try it. But then you'll understand if it's not working the way you thought you wanted it to work. But you can look at it and go, well, that's not doing what I wanted. And if it's not doing what you wanted, then you can go back in and go, okay, what do I have to do to get it to do what I want? And it's just, some ideas will maybe work straight away. Others, it might take you a bit of time to actually get it exactly the way you want it. But in the process of doing that, you get to understand what you've done. So then you'll understand if it's not working.
That's it. It's difficult to do that manually, isn't it?
Oh, discretionary trading. Yeah, you blink and you miss it. It's so difficult to, I think, discretionary trading now compared to what I've gotten used to, because it's just everything takes time. Depending on the platform, even if you've got to enter a trade manually, okay, most platforms have a single click entry and stuff like that, but is the entry where you wanted it? It depends on what type of trading you're doing. But like if you're scalping, if you're taking very short trades, well, by the time you worked out that there's an entry, your trade's already halfway over. I just don't really think about manual trading anymore. That's how it's got to me.
Can you explain, with the manual trading you used to do, how you used to do the testing and be confident that the strategy worked, and compare that to what you're doing now with actually building and automating the strategies?
Oh, well, if I had an idea when I was manual trading, all I'd do is I'd bring up a chart and go back pretty much as far as I can and just slowly feed it through one bar at a time and go, there's the setup, enter here, and then set up my entry, set up my stop loss, set up my profit target if I had one. And again, it was just feed it through one bar at a time and move your trading stop if you had a trading stop, and just see what happens. So of course, I mean, that just takes so long. It's so long, and it's so tiring.
Let's just say you've got a strategy manually and you're doing that process. How long do you think it would take to test, and forget about the accuracy of the testing manually, but just time-wise even, how long would it take you to test 1,000 trades that way?
Oh, it would take me weeks. It would literally take weeks to try and test 1,000 trades. And I think that's one of the problems, is because you tend to get, well, I know I used to tend to get sick of it, so I would probably never actually manually backtest enough trades to get an accurate sample. Now I run an automatic backtest. I can do 2 years and a couple of minutes, and have 500, 600, 700, 1,000 trades depending on the frequency of the system and that. But it's so quick to get enough trades to know that you've got a reasonable sample size to give you a fairly good indication of the consistency of the system. Whereas manually doing it, some systems would take over a month.
Can you compare the accuracy of doing it manually, just looking at the charts and calculating on where you think you place the trade, compared to automating it?
Automating is so much more accurate because again, I think when you're doing it manually, you start getting tired and you go, oh yeah, about there. Whereas automatically, when you do it automated, the trade is placed at the level that it's supposed to be placed at. The stop or the profit target is hit at the level that it was set at. Whereas you do it manually, and you could be several points difference between where it was actually supposed to be and where you've decided to take it.
That's exactly right. I was going to say, mate, it's to me, it's a no-brainer to automate it. Even you talking about doing that manual backtesting, it gives me a headache.
It does, yeah. It's scary. I mean, I used to be up at the computer until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
Do you want to show us some of the things that you're building in EA Lab? And you can just feel free to show us as much or as little as you like. And if you don't mind, maybe explaining a little bit of an idea about the strategy and maybe how long it took to build, and any difficulties you had building it and how you overcame them.
Okay, I'll just set up a screen share here. So this one here is one of the first ones I built, and my idea was I was looking for a divergence. So a divergence is when you get, say, you have some sort of an oscillator for an indicator, and I'll just wait until this plane goes past.
No problem. While you're waiting for that, I meant to ask before, do you use the member portal actively to chat to the traders on the desk here and the other traders in the portal?
I do go into it about 3 or 4 times a day just to have a look and see what's happening. Sometimes I'll say g'day to somebody. I find it very interesting though, just looking at what other people are saying, people's comments on price movement, and sometimes their reasoning for taking a trade and stuff like that. I find that quite interesting.
It is good. I think we try to keep the live chat like it is here on the trading desk. Do you want to actually, just while you've got that, do you want to just pop out the live chat so everybody can see what it looks like, just quickly?
My computer needs to speed up. So there we go.
There you go. Just started for this morning, so it's just Rob.
Yeah.
But we do usually get pretty full by the end of the day. So.
Yeah.
Alright, you can pop that away.
Yeah, sometimes at night it's going off.
It does. It's very useful when you're trading. Alright, do you want to explain this model?
So what I was trying to do here, I've put in up the... let's just wait for this to sort itself out. So up the top here I've put in, it's got a start hour and a start minutes, and an end hour. So those are the hours between which it can take trades. And then I've given it a maximum number of trades in here. So this is a variable that can be adjusted. But this system is constantly in the market, so I only allow it to take one trade per direction. So what it does is it will look for a signal, and what I'm looking for here is it's looking for the bar has to close below the open, so it's got to be a down bar, and it's looking for the lowest low of X number of candles back. So basically that formula will give you like a Dolcian channel. And then I have the moving average oscillator. And so what it's looking for, in the case of taking a long trade, it's looking for a lower low in price, but a higher low on the oscillator. And then it will take a trade, a long trade, when it finds its setup, and it will stay in that trade until it finds a setup for a short trade. And so it just goes from long, short, short back to long, long back to short, and it just keeps doing that. And it only takes, as you see, I've made these things all adjustable, but it's only because it's always in the trade, and it doesn't actually have, it has a stop, as in if it has an equity drop of a certain amount, it will close the trade out, but it doesn't actually have a physical stop order in the market.
Okay, so you're going in small size, and if your account balance reaches a certain amount of drawdown, then you close out any open trades.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's its protection.
How long did it take you to build this? Because, I mean, we build a lot of stuff here, but to some people that might look like a lot of blocks or complicated. Be honest, how long do you think that took you to build from concept through to completion of this one?
Well, this was one of the first systems that I built when I first started using EA Lab. So it probably took me, I probably built it over a space of about 3 days. Okay. I had a couple of requests into the support desk. One of them was getting this concept here of the look back period for the lower low and the higher high, and that. But what I've done since then is like I say, can build a system in 4 hours, a reasonably basic one. But I've got all of Edward's Trader Talk videos, the ones where he's done showing us how to doing little blocks of things like functions and stuff like that. I've got all of those downloaded into a file on my computer. So if I have a problem, my first port of call is I go back and look through those Trader Talk videos that have got something to do with the section I'm working on, and play that and see if I can pick up something from that before I send in for a request for help. and more often than not, I find what I want there.
Mate, you are a champion. That's the idea of the videos. So just to everybody else out there, the reason that we do the videos is to give clients an idea of some things that they can build, and hopefully they are good to watch before you need to ask for support. So we try and get people doing things as much as they can by themselves, and also to give you some ideas. So would you say with this one now, 3 days is pretty good. A couple of things. Would you say that once you said there was a bit in there with the look back period,
Yes.
you didn't know how to build it first. Could you build that again now really easily, now that you know how to do it?
Oh, yeah. Just a couple of minutes.
Yeah. So do you think, I think this is good for people who are using EA Lab and who are just trying to build automated models in general. Maybe this is my comment, but you tell me if you agree. I know that from my perspective, we speak to a lot of people, and at first things seem like, there'll always be somewhere or something that they can't build. But once you get shown how to do it, then you know how to do that, and you can apply that to other models. So you probably won't need to ask about that again, and then you'll just get quicker from there.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair enough comment. And one thing I took, which I think is a really good idea out of one of your videos, is you mentioned when we start building functions and things, just keep a page on EA Lab and store all your functions and that on it. So then if you're putting a system together, because a lot of the things you'll use over and over again, like maybe some sort of a trailing stop or something like that, and you can just go back and copy and paste it.
That's exactly right. I mean, this is for all the people who are actually watching the video. Max is great. He actually answers all the questions pretty much, based on exactly the way we've structured things for people. So the thing I like about Max, and the reason that I wanted to interview him, is that he does actually follow the process, and that's why he's been able to get some good results, which we'll have a look at in a little bit. And it's not even just about the results themselves, because if you continue to follow the process, the results will come. But it's the fact that he has followed the process, and Max has now got himself to a stage where he's running some decent models on a demo, and he's able to monitor them. And I think once you get to that stage, you'll be able to feel fairly comfortable that you can continue to develop even better models from there. So it's just a matter of now continuing for Max. It's just a matter for Max to keep continuing and doing what he's doing. And the more models he builds, the better his ideas will become, and the better trader he'll become. So I think Max is well on the way, which is great. Do you want to just actually quickly show people, let's just say you need support, we talked about it before, but do you want to show people how you would get support with this model?
So if I wanted any help with this model, this little icon up here, I just click it, and in here I just fill in what I want, what I'm requesting support for, and just press the ask for help, and away it goes.
And that's
Everything
it.
taken care of from there.
What's the first thing it says before asking for help?
Yeah, well, the first thing is we've got up here is a knowledge base, so you can type in if it's something to do with anything to do with EA Lab. You can type it in here. So if I want to say a comment, if I want to know how to do a comment, so and it's telling me to send it to E. Okay, I'll go try something else.
With two M's.
Oh, see, I'm just and then you just click on the working with comments, and it gives you everything here. So it shows you the little blocks that you can put in, and then you come down. So you can get a lot of information out of here before you even send anything off.
That's it. I use that as well. So Ali and Todd have done a lot of great work putting that together. They've covered most of the major things in there. So even I get stuck sometimes. I'm not a programmer either, as you know. So that's my first port of call. And usually I can work things out from there. But if not, then we can use support. So that's great. Well, why don't we have a look at, do you actually have, is this model, you said this was one of the first ones you built. Is this one performing well?
Yes, I actually have this running on a $10,000 demonstration account.
Do you want to show us first? Do you actually have any of the back tests there?
I do.
Do you want to show us one of the, what I'll get you to do, maybe show us one of the back tests from some of the models so people can have an understanding of what it looks like?
Okay. Well, I'll show them in the EA Analyzer because I've loaded some into there.
Do you want to show us first just the raw back test from one of these models? So just one model, just a back test.
So I'll just stick to that same model so that there's no. So I'll do one of your favourites, which is the Australia US dollar.
Excellent. Hey, nice.
So that's my back test taken over a 12-month period. $10,000 account, and I've just let it go.
So that's the system that you just showed us.
That's the system I just showed you on the Australian US dollar.
Hey, that's fantastic.
So we can see all the figures up here. It was 19% profit, 1.16% drawdown.
Hey, that's great. So how long was that? When was the first trade? We can see there, 6th of the 6th, 2016.
Yeah.
So around about a year.
Yeah. And the other thing that I like with it too is that it's fairly consistent with both long and short trades, as in the number of trades and also the percent profitable.
What type of model is this? This was that model before, so that was it was divergence, wasn't it?
Divergence,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Is it a reversal model?
Yeah, so it's in a long trade until it gets a short signal, and then it exits the long trade, enters the short.
Yeah.
And then it stays in that until it gets another long signal.
Mate, they are awesome results. Just to let the guys out there know, I hadn't actually seen this one of Max's, so that's really good. Max, the reason we got Max on the interview, this is how it started, we do speak to him all the time, but he called in and he said, Eddie, can you help me reduce the drawdown on my model? And he didn't show me this one, but the other one only had about 1.4% drawdown, so I don't know how I'm going to help him with that. I mean, it's pretty good. So, building some good stuff, mate.
One thing I've learned since I've been involved with TradeView is I've changed from worrying about how much profit to worrying about the drawdown.
It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, because I feel that if you just worry about making a profit, you're going to lose your money. And it's not about making $1 million tomorrow. It's what you've got to do is you've got to look after your drawdown and manage that. That's all you're doing is controlling risk. Because as long as you control risk, you're going to have money to trade. And as long as you have money to trade, you're going to get some big trades that will make you good money.
That's the idea. Well, the thing now is that now that you've been able to get a back test like that, this is what we discussed the other day. We want to make sure that that's still performing similarly in a real account. If you've done the testing correctly, then it should be similar. And I know you're running this one as part of a portfolio, is that right?
Yeah, I've actually got, using the same system, but I've got 4 different products.
Is it all this system?
It's all the same system, slightly different settings for each product. These are the ones I'm trading it on. So I have Euro US, Australia US, Pound Yen, and Gold. Because I thought I'd just throw like gold in there because it's a bit of it's not something I normally trade. So I thought I'll just throw something different. And although I've got like two US dollar products there, I also like to try and get stuff that's not related to each other. So hopefully, if something happens to the US dollar and all of your pairs are US dollar crosses, well then of course you're going to suffer the consequences big time. It's going to be multiplied. Yeah.
So diversified.
Yeah, diversify it, yeah.
Great. Hey, if you don't mind, on this, can you open up the... do you have any live trades at the moment? Or, I mean, they're on the demo account, but any trades open? Oh, yeah, you do.
Yes.
Can you open up the navigator? Oh, sorry, not the navigator, the terminal. So this is what you've got open now.
So that's what it's running at the moment, yeah.
Can you drag it up? People can see P&L, if you don't mind, just because you've got your face in the bottom right hand corner. Okay, there you go. So a little bit of drawdown now, but you've got nearly $500 of actual realised profit. You've got about, well, there you go, $32 of unrealised loss.
Loss. What quite often happens, I've noticed with it, like it'll be running at drawdown and stuff like that. But see, we've got one here that's quite a high profit, and as you can see, that's gold. So I'll bring up gold so you can all see it, and you can see like here's where it entered. It's getting towards the top of the look back period, so somewhere up here it'll probably close this trade out, and that's how it just slowly sort of steps the profit up, even though it might be in drawdown overall. But those ones, occasionally it'll take a $50 drop, but most of the time it's slowly, because again, it's not about having massive trades and making huge amounts. It's just slowly building it up. And it might get one losing trade for 10 or 15 winning trades.
Well, $50 drop on your $10,000 account's only 0.5%, so
yeah,
it's.
But if we go into the account history.
So how many trades would you have taken there, do you think?
Oh, I really don't know. Where's my...
We can go and have a look later in EA Analyzer, actually, so don't worry about it for now.
Well, on the back test, but this is just for a year. This is for a year on one product, and it was a total of total trades were, let's go down, trades long, short, 110 trades. No, sorry, it was 220 trades for a year.
And now you've taken, how many is that? I don't know. We'll have a look later on EA Analyzer. With, now that you're running this on the demo and you've been able to get some good results, what are some of the other benefits for you of being able to watch this place the trades automatically?
Well, I have, it frees you up to do other things. It gives you confidence in the system when you sit back and watch it doing that. So it's taking its trades, it's entering where I want it to enter, it's exiting where I programmed it to, and by controlling the lot size, you can see here the margin on. For all those trades, it's only $57 margin. So you can turn your computer off, you can get up, you can walk away, you can go to the beach, you can go and play sports or whatever, without worrying about what's happening to your account.
And you've also got that other functionality in there, don't you, to close out at a certain amount of loss. So that's going to happen automatically.
If I have over X dollars, and again, you just think, okay, so what's your maximum drawdown? If you don't want any more than a 3% drawdown, well then you can work out 3% of what your account equity or your account balance is, and have it so it'll close out at just under that or whatever. And in that way, you've covered your 3% drawdown. You're not going to go beyond that.
What about? Oh, sorry, Max.
I was going to say it'll just shut the trades down, and then it'll start itself off trading again from scratch.
I like it, mate. That's good. So it's good that you're starting to think differently to probably what most manual traders do. How do you think your perception's changed of trading by being able to automate and now watch it the model place the trades on the chart as opposed to doing it manually. So if you were doing this manually, how do you think you would be thinking about your trading in the markets as opposed to now being able to sit back and watch the model place the trades?
Trading manually, I was always worried. You're always, and I guess part of that is taking too big a trade size, feeling you didn't have enough time from when you got the entry signal, you didn't have enough time to work out how big a trade to take, and that. I think now I look at my trading as, I look at myself, my job now is not to trade the markets. My job now is to oversee my automated programs and try and develop more. So instead of sitting there looking at charts, looking for a signal or whatever to enter the market, what I do now is I look at my charts every now and again, check where the trades are being taken and where they're exited. I'm more of a robot controller, I suppose. Make sure systems are working properly. If they're not working properly, then I can shut it down, because just because you've got a system in a market that's trading doesn't have to be there. No position is a position. If it's not working properly, don't let it trade until you know what's happening. Otherwise, you're not doing what you're supposed to. And that's my job, is to check my systems, try and develop other systems, and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to.
So you feel a lot more relaxed and in control of what you're doing?
Yeah, far more relaxed. And that's the good thing about developing the systems yourself, because then you know if they're doing what they're supposed to, if they're not. If you pay $99 for something and stick it on your chart, you don't know whether it's doing what it's supposed to or not. You don't even know how it derives its signals from half of them.
That's dangerous stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. And people are asking, in some cases, they want you to give them thousands of dollars for something they're not prepared to tell you how it works. Why would you do it?
Well, you can build it yourself. So,
yeah.
With your model, have you been able to, or have you thought about adding any functionality to it since you've been trading it live, or are you happy with how it is, or has it given you ideas for any other models?
Oh, I think I can refine it more. I can look at. Well, there's lots of things. It's just a matter of trying to narrow it down to what do I want to do. I'm sort of come up with different ideas all the time. I can I've got a time switch on it. I want to try and get it so instead of it working on dollars, it's working on percentages. Maybe there's just all sorts. I could put a trading stop in there, and instead of having it in the market all the time, have it run on a trading stop. And in that way, that may eliminate some of the drawdowns. But then again, every time you do something, it changes something else.
That's a great thing about systems, Max. I mean, I know personally, I've learned a lot from actually building and running it, because getting something up and running then allows you to see things that you wouldn't think about or see otherwise. So I think it's really great that you've been able to get it to the stage where you've got good backtesting results and you've actually got it now running on the demo, because from here you're going to be able to, like you said, generate new ideas. You were talking about trailing stops, which is a perfectly valid idea, and you've also got the ability to build that now and test it, and like you said, see whether that improves the system or not. So you'll start to power ahead with your trading now that you're at this stage. So I know it takes, it's a little bit of a different way of thinking to start automating, but I mean, I think, when did you actually start working on the program again? I know you said at the start you didn't do it for a few years. When did you actually come back to it? Was it this year?
Oh yeah, I've been back. I've been about 2.5 months now, I think.
Yeah, so you've been able to do all this in 2.5 months. This is going to put you miles ahead. So you've come a very long way in 2.5 months. It's great work.
But yeah, it's great. But I think with the systems, like running them on the demo account, I want to run it for at least 3 months without touching it. And so let's see the good, the bad, and the ugly of the whole thing. If he has a drawdown, let's see how it recovers and stuff like that. Because I believe, there's no point in having an automated system if every time it does something that you don't like, you jump in there and close out a trade or whatever. Because then it's not an automated system. Because you're interfering with it. Let it run. Let it do its thing. If it has a drawdown, see how it recovers. Because that's going to happen in live trading. And then I'll look at what I need to do at the end of, say, 3 months. Because 3 months is going to give you a good idea of what it's going to do if you put it on a live account. But the other thing is, instead of changing it, just build a new one. Build something different. And have a whole lot of different systems.
That's the idea. As you know here, we run multiple systems, so we've got somewhere between 20 and 30 models running at any one time between the team here. I know Rob runs 9 models on the ASX on different time frames and their different strategies. So
exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty difficult to do manually. And look, as you're starting to experience now, you've been able to get something to a point where it's getting good results. And you're probably going to be able to improve the results and come up with new ideas over time.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing is that you've been able to get something running that is able to get positive results, which is a fantastic outcome.
Yeah, no, I've done a couple of others too. I've got another one that I just put on a demo account just last week, and I've only got it running on 2 products at the moment. But you've got to put it there and see what it does.
That's right. That's it. And the great thing is you can. You've got these models running. While these models are running, you're working on other models.
Yeah.
And you get those models running, and then you're working on other models. So you can really do a lot of work. Whereas if you're trying to come up with different ideas manually, I mean that's very difficult because you've got to focus on the trades you're doing instead of necessarily focusing on new models and strategies. So if you're able to continue the momentum, you're going to power ahead.
That's right. If you, even just trying to trade 2 or 3 different products manually at a time is a headache.
That's right.
But while you're doing that, you aren't free to come up with other systems. You can't do anything else. You really have to concentrate on it.
So, what are your future goals from here?
At the end of this month, I'm going down to Melbourne to attend your in-house training for the weekend, which I'm really looking forward to.
That will be
with the trading, I really do want to try and get onto your prop trading program.
Awesome.
So, and the reason I got into the trading was I actually wanted to be able to trade to generate income for myself, just to make things a bit easier on my wife, because we've been down to 1 income for the last 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a bit difficult. I got injured in my previous job and haven't been able to get work since. So it's a bit tough on 1 income.
Yeah, understandably. Well, mate, what you've been building so far is looking pretty good, and we would love to have you on the prop program when you're ready, so we can definitely talk about that. You've been one of the people who've really understood the process, and you really follow the process that we do here at TradeView. And I think really for yourself, it's just a matter of continuing to do what you're doing and continuing to improve. And hopefully we see you on the prop desk here at some stage.
Yeah, no, I really, that's one of my, well, that's been my main goal since I started. But specifically with you guys, like I say, I've been involved with other outfits, and to me they just felt like they were just hyped up used car sales places.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, look, I'm not going to comment on what anybody else does, but...
No, but just the difference, just the atmosphere, I suppose, the fact that every time I've spoken to somebody, they have actually received help and the help is so quick in coming, and that, which is really good. And the thing I do like, I mean, this doesn't apply for everyone, but the fact that although you're in Melbourne and I'm in Townsville, it's local, is the way I look at it.
Yeah, and also you've got the chat, so you can chat to us on the live chat, and we encourage traders to chat on there about their trading, because we do want to create it like a virtual trading desk, if you like. So we only keep comments on there about trading itself. We don't sort of talk about things that aren't related to trading. And we want people to basically be able to be involved with what we're doing here on the trading desk from wherever they are in the world. So we do try and build a community. And look, I'd like to think that we are able to help anybody who's willing to put the time in like you have and follow the process. And I think what you've been able to do in 2.5, 3 months, it's literally, that's awesome. That's a fantastic job. And I'm really glad that we've been able to help you develop, and we can continue to help you develop further.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like I said, this is, I just enjoy doing this so much. It's great fun. All you guys, I like your Trader Talk videos. I learn a heap from those. Everything is just makes it easy.
Mate, that's all we like to hear, so I appreciate that. And look, again, I appreciate your time for, we've spent almost an hour chatting here now. So, Max, I appreciate your time this morning to show us some of the stuff that you've been doing, all the way through building in EA Lab, talking about your own trading journey, and showing some of the results that you've got, and some of the models running on the demo now in real time. I look forward to continuing to help you develop with your trading, mate, and seeing you here in Melbourne next month.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
All right, mate. Thanks, Max. You have a great day.
You too.
I'll chat to you soon.
Okay, see you, mate.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.